Greetings, dear friends and history lovers. Did you know that in ancient Rome there was a special day when boys literally transformed into full citizens within a single day? Imagine, yesterday still a child, and today a person with the right to vote, make deals, and even go to war. Seems incredible, doesn't it? Yet this is exactly the kind of abrupt transition that occurred during the mysterious festival of Liberalia. In today's video, we'll dive into the amazing world of ancient Roman rituals and traditions to understand how this momentous event in every Roman youth's life took place. You'll learn not only about the ceremony itself, but also why its symbolism still finds reflection in modern rites. I'll also tell you about unexpected facts related to this ancient festival that few people know about. Stay until the end. The most amazing discoveries await ahead. Ancient Rome, a civilization that gave the world not only magnificent architecture, law, and literature, but also numerous rituals that defined the life path of every citizen. One of the most important such rituals was Liberalia, a festival dedicated to the god Liber, patron of fertility, wine, and freedom. It was in his honor that the ceremony marking a boy's transition to the status of a man was conducted. Liberalia was celebrated annually on the 17th of March, the day when winter ended and spring revival of nature began. Symbolically, boys also blossomed into men at this time. On this day, Roman youths who had reached approximately 16 or 17 years of age underwent a special ceremony that forever changed their status in society. Interestingly, the age of transition was not strictly fixed. The decision about when a boy was ready to become a man was made by the father of the family, considering not only age, but also the son's maturity and readiness for adult life. This usually occurred between 14 and 18 years, although cases of both earlier and later ceremonies are known. The Liberalia festival had deep historical roots. The god Liber, whose name literally means free, was an ancient Italian deity who was later identified with the Greek Dionysus. But while Dionysus in Greek tradition was more associated with wine and ecstatic cults, Liber for the Romans was primarily a symbol of freedom and transition to maturity. This festival was celebrated long before the founding of Rome in rural communities of ancient Italy. Originally, it was connected with the agricultural cycle and fertility. Farmers asked Liber for a rich harvest of grapes and other crops. Over time, the agrarian character of the holiday was preserved, but a new meaning was added: the transition to maturity, a kind of fruition of a person. The central element of Liberalia was the ceremony of donning the adult Toga Virilis, or as it was also called, Toga Libera Free Toga. Until this moment, boys wore the Toga praetexta, a white toga with a purple border, symbolizing their minor status and protection under the gods and society. The morning of the significant day began with a special ritual in the home shrine, the lararium. The youth, for the last time, put on his children's toga and made an offering to the household gods. He removed the bulla from his neck, a special amulet that children wore for protection against evil spirits. He dedicated this bulla to the lars, the guardian spirits of the house. The moment of changing clothes was deeply symbolic. The praetexta with its bright purple border was replaced by the solid white toga of an adult citizen. Purple, the color of royal power and divine patronage, gave way to white, the color of pure intentions and civic dignity. This symbolized that the youth now had to answer for his actions himself, without the special protection enjoyed by children. The process of putting on the toga was complex and required assistance. Usually the father or other senior male relatives handled this. The toga was a large, semicircular piece of fabric about 5.5 meters long, which had to be draped around the body in a certain way. Properly donning a toga was a true art, and the young man had to master it from the very beginning of his adult life. After the ceremony at home, a solemn procession to the Forum, the main square of Rome, began. The youth, accompanied by his father, relatives, and family friends, walked through the city, receiving congratulations. This procession had enormous public significance. The city saw a new citizen, and the young man demonstrated his readiness to become part of the civic collective. At the forum, the formal registration of the youth in the citizen lists took place. His name was entered into special registers, which gave him the right to participate in public assemblies and vote in the future. For patrician families, the ceremony might also include a visit to the capital and offering a sacrifice to Jupiter Capitolinus, the supreme deity of the Roman pantheon. After the official part, the celebration began. The family held a feast to which relatives, friends, and influential acquaintances were invited. This banquet was important not only as a celebration, but also as an opportunity to present the young man in his new status to potential patrons and allies. In Roman society built on a complex system of client relationships, such connections were critically important for a future career. Interestingly, on the day of Liberalia, public festivities were held throughout the city. Honey cakes, which elderly priestesses prepared right on small portable hearths, were sold on streets and squares. Part of these cakes was offered as a sacrifice to Liber, and the rest were eaten by festival participants. Theatrical performances with songs and dances were also held, many of which were quite frivolous in nature, corresponding to the ideas about the god of fertility. What changed in a youth's life after donning the adult toga? First of all, he received a whole range of civil rights. Now he could independently conclude deals, appear in court, participate in public assemblies. If previously his interests were represented by his father or guardian, now he became a legally independent person. Along with rights came obligations. The young man had to perform military service, which for Romans was not just a duty, but also a crucial element in the formation of a citizen. Usually right after the ceremony began, the so-called tirocinium, fori, a period of training in public activities. The youth was attached to an experienced statesman, most often a family friend, and learned from him the art of oratory, law, and politics. Symbolically, along with civic adulthood, the youth also received religious freedom. Now he could independently choose which gods to worship, participate in mysteries and secret cults closed to children. This emphasized the holistic nature of the transition. The young man matured in all spheres of life simultaneously. It should be noted that unlike many other cultures, the Roman initiation rite did not include tests of endurance or courage. It was primarily a civic ritual, emphasizing the inclusion of the youth into the political community. This reflected the peculiarities of the Roman mentality, where civic virtues were valued higher than martial ones. However, physical training still played an important role in the life of a Roman youth. It simply did not occur in the form of initiation, but in the form of constant training on the field of Mars, a large area designated for military exercises. There, young men engaged in horseback riding, fencing, javelin throwing, and other martial arts under the guidance of experienced mentors. As time passed, the Liberalia ritual underwent changes. In the Republican era, it was primarily a family and civic ritual. During the imperial period, especially in imperial families, it acquired a more lavish, theatrical character. It is known, for example, that when sons or adopted sons of emperors donned the adult toga, this was accompanied by grand spectacles, distribution of money to soldiers and plebeians, and multi-day games. It is worth noting that rites of passage existed in virtually all cultures, but the Roman version was distinguished by its civic orientation. If in tribal societies initiation often included painful tests, imitation of death and rebirth, the Roman ritual was more pragmatic, associated with acquiring a certain social status. For example, Spartan boys underwent a harsh system of upbringing agog, which ended with a severe test cryptia, including survival in wild conditions and even killing helots, slaves. In Germanic tribes, youths had to kill a wild beast or an enemy to prove their courage. In comparison with these customs, the Roman rite appears quite civilized and oriented toward including the youth in the civic collective, rather than demonstrating individual prowess. Today, there are no direct analogues of Roman Liberalia, but we can find echoes of similar rites in various cultural traditions. In some sense, Modern parallels can be seen in such rites as confirmation in Catholicism, bar mitzvah in Judaism, or high school graduation. All of these mark an important transition in a young person's life, although they do not endow them with such a set of rights and obligations as a Roman youth received. Returning to Roman Liberalia, it is important to understand that this rite did not simply mark biological maturation, but was part of a complex system of citizen formation. Roman society attached enormous importance to the gradual inclusion of a person in the civic collective, and the ceremony of donning the adult toga was one of the key moments in this process. For modern people, the history of Liberalia is interesting not only as a cultural fact, but also as a reason to think about how the transition from childhood to adulthood occurs in our society. Unlike the clear Roman ritual, today this transition is blurred, stretched over time, and does not have clear symbolic markers. Perhaps this is why many young people experience difficulties with perceiving themselves as adult, responsible members of society. So, we have taken an exciting journey into the world of ancient Roman rituals and traditions. We learned that Liberalia was not just a festival, but a crucial moment in the life of every Roman youth, a symbolic boundary between childhood and adulthood. This rite reflected the key values of Roman society: citizenship, responsibility, continuity of generations. What do you think? Does modern society need such clear rituals of transition to adult life? Or is our blurred system, where a person gradually acquires various rights and obligations, the right to vote, drive a car, consume alcohol, more appropriate to the complexity of the modern world? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm very interested to know your opinion on this issue. If you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell to not miss new episodes about little-known facts of ancient history. And if you know someone who would be interested in this topic, share this video with them. Spreading knowledge about the cultural heritage of our ancestors is an important mission. In future episodes, we will continue to explore the amazing rituals of ancient civilizations and their unexpected parallels with modern traditions. Some of these parallels are so striking that they make us look at human history and cultural continuity in a new way. Remember, the past is not just a set of curious facts, it is the foundation upon which our present and future are built. Until next time, friends.